Let's go, though, to John McDonald's article for us, and he writes for us on Flow News 24, and a very interesting article that he's been able to put together for us. Kevin Rudd accuses Murdoch of undermining Australian democracy. Yep, that's what happened when Kevin Rudd, who was appearing before a Senate committee, inquiring into media diversity, and accused News Corporation and Rupert Murdoch of undermining democracy in Australia by instilling fear into politicians. He said all politicians were afraid of Murdoch and that he had been afraid of him up until he left office in 2013. Rudd said this culture of fear about the Murdoch media monopoly was just dead wrong for any democracy. The truth is, as Prime Minister, I was still fearful of the Murdoch media beast, he said, asking himself a rhetorical question. When did I stop being fearful? Probably when I walked out of the building in 2013. Rudd claimed that former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull agreed with his conclusions. He also claimed that in the past 17 state and federal elections, the Murdoch press had supported the coalition against Labor. He escalated his comments by claiming that Sky News was engaged in the Fox Newsisation of Australia. Kevin Rudd claimed that Fox News was directly responsible for the riots on Capitol Hill on January the 6th through its promotion of conspiracy theories about election fraud. He also asserted that the Murdoch press engaged in character assassination and supported his case by producing a front page from the Daily Telegraph that carried the headline, Dan Made Disaster, referring to Daniel Andrews' lockdown in Victoria. Former Prime Minister Rudd told the committee chaired by Greens Senator Sarah Hanson-Young that he wanted a royal commission into the power of the Murdoch monopoly and the importance of media diversity. He said that it was important to have small independent regional news outlets. He also said he was opposed to the online media monopolies of Google and Facebook. Liberal Senator David Fawcett questioned Mr Rudd over his claim a News Corp monopoly in Queensland had a serious political impact. Senator Fawcett said given Labor had won 8 of the last 9 elections in the state and the ABC was considered Australia's most trusted broadcaster, Mr Rudd's fears were overblown. And further, in response to Mr Rudd's claims, the News Corporation Executive Chairman Michael Miller told the committee the old habits of reading just one newspaper, choosing one radio or TV station are being replaced by a world embracing unlimited information. He went on to add that diversity is not just about ownership, it's about the diversity of views and the diversity of sources, and importantly, the incredibly diverse the way that people now access news and information. He also further added that Australians are smart people who make up their own minds about what media they consume, who they back politically and what they feel. Mr Miller also told the inquiry every News Corp editor had the right to choose what they publish. I don't give direction to editors about what to publish politically. He said he did not always agree with the opinions of News Corp editors and columnists, but defended their right to voice their opinions. News Corp executive Campbell Reid denied Mr Rudd's early assertion to the inquiry that the company engaged in character assassination, saying much of that occurred on social media. It's not character assassination to closely examine the actions of people in public life, he said. I regard our coverage as tough scrutiny and don't regard it as character assassination. Mr Miller and Mr Reid were also asked about News Corp's Newswire service set up in 2020 when it looked as if long-running Newswire service AAP would be shutting down permanently. Mr Reid said the service was designed to cover breaking news as it was occurring and that it serviced News Corp mastheads. Well, on Kevin Rudd, I'd say that he is the master of exaggeration and also of omission. I don't think Kevin Rudd in any way, shape or form commented at any point in time about the ABC or its views and that of its editors and its columnists and its programmers. It would seem that the accusations that Kevin Rudd is drawing here towards News Corp might have clearly been those that could have been levelled at Fairfax or at ABC. I think there was more politics still being played by Kevin Rudd. Maybe he doesn't feel like when he was not voted by the people in 2013 to remain in public life that he just needed that extra boost, and that's why he's appeared at this Senate committee. I would say that if he thinks Malcolm Turnbull thinks the same way he does, and that probably doesn't surprise anybody. But I think Malcolm Turnbull's probably big enough to comment for himself if he wished to do so.